Hey, hey! F***ing piling. How bad are they?
I don't know, to me it just seemed like too much.
So I'm pretty frustrated with this lightning strike boat. Captain called me last week, said that the engines and generators wouldn't start. So I came over here this morning and checked out some things, didn't do anything, sat down and the engines and generators started. Got the fire bottle guy over here, certified the whole fire system. It's all working 100%. Got video of that. It's on my iPhone though, but I will try to use it and so you guys can see what that's all about. Then the owner got upset with me this weekend because they don't understand why all this is going on their boat that got hit by lightning. And I tried to explain to him a couple times now, when your boat gets hit by lightning, you should expect ongoing electrical problems for, I've seen years. I have some boats that I worked on and years ago, probably 2-3 years ago, and they're still having electrical problems. Today, I got on board and the GPS isn't working and the refrigerator freezer is not working. And so I have put in a call to the insurance company and I'm waiting for the adjuster surveyor to get back to me so that I can get permission to start tearing into this stuff and try to figure out what is going on with it. Oh, and the warning light for the swim platform at the helm, which is right here. Let me show you what happens. See, that stays on all the time. However, the swim platform does work. So another circuit or a switch or something blown out that we'll have to troubleshoot and figure out. And so the story continues. So I'm just sitting here taking a break, eating some lunch, nothing fancy. Just got a bag of celery and carrots and a piece of grilled chicken. I'm gonna do some work on my iPad here at the yacht club, but lovely day. We're going to do some tests on it. We have to start the generator. We have to run up the air conditioning because we ended up having to replace a bunch of air conditioning lines because they were old and rotten. And we had to move them to do the other work we had to do, which was replace both dripless couplings on the shafts. So this morning we'll put it in, start the generator, check the AC, make sure there's no leaks with that. Then we'll start the engines while it's in the slings, and we will do transmission checks. So we'll just bump it in and out of gear, forward and reverse, make sure everything's working. And then if everything's working and we don't need to make any adjustments on the dripless couplings, then we will take it and Chris will go for a ride and do a sea trial on it. Get the engines up to RPM and all that kind of stuff and make sure it's all working. So that's what we're up to, and that'll be it for this boat. I don't know what the owner is going to decide to do about the swim platform. That's not working. It needs electrical troubleshooting and parts, but it seems like right now the parts are no longer available. So don't know what he's going to decide to do there. He may end up having to buy a whole new power pack assembly, and we'd have to remove the old one and put the new one in. So far, port engine, we had a hell of a time keeping it running. Just kept shutting down.
Really?
Yeah. And the RPM gauge doesn't work on this side, starboard side.
Okay, good.
Hey, watch that belt. There's no covers on there.
I see that.
Okay, starboard. All right, so the water pumps check good. The dripless couplings check good here in the slip. Doing transmission checks. The air conditioning checks good. Air conditioning is running.
Good.
Good. Watch out, the first step's a doozy. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Chris. Don't get crazy with the speed with that back hatch open, okay? So glad to see this one leaving. It was a struggle. Had to get parts sent in. Dripless couplings, Had to take the air conditioning apart to fix the dripless couplings, take the running gear apart. Everything was rusted, corroded, and frozen. Everything checked good in the slip, and now we're sending her on her way with Chris on board to do a sea trial. And I expect everything to go well. What are you doing down below? The wind's blowing this way, and that's not a wood piling, that's a cement one.
Looks like Chris made it back from his test ride. I guess I better go find out how that went for him. I think Matt's already over there, so let's see.
I'm leery about making any adjustments just yet.
Okay.
I don't want to do that. How bad are they?
It's spraying, like compared to the port side, it was spraying a lot. And
Like-
it only does it at high speeds.
Like a gallon a minute, or?
It seemed like, I don't know, to me it just seemed like too much.
All right, then let's take them back 1/8 of an inch maybe.
Okay.
Just loosen up the set screws and slide them back, and
So more compressed?
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Because they do, you remember, they're brand new.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should do it or let them run for a while and then readjust them. But if you think it's leaking too much, then let's just compress them a little more.
Still on or?
Yeah, you can shut down, you can shut it down. I've never seen them in action before. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a reference to be like, to me that seems like too much water should be coming out.
I mean, how is it like spraying like this? All right, then let's tighten them, take it down like only do 1/8 of an inch.
Okay. Huh.
And is that just on the starboard one?
Yeah, the port side was a little misty.
Then let's just leave that one alone.
Okay.
So here's what we've got today. We've got an air conditioning unit that has a leak in it somewhere. I have not been able to find it. I suspect it's in the condensing coil, which means that the refrigerant is getting dumped overboard with the salt water as it goes through the condensing coil. I have done leak tests on it, and I am unable to locate the leak. What we're going to do is, like I showed you before, this is called Leak Saver, and what it is this. And what you do is you take this and you put it on the low pressure side, which is the suction side of the air conditioning unit. And I don't know if you can see it, but inside there, it's a liquid in there, and it's actually an epoxy, and it reacts with oxygen. So you inject this in there, and I've had pretty good luck over the years with it. Let's go put this in. Hopefully we can save this unit. If it continues to leak, then we would have to replace it, and it'd probably cost about $4,500 just for the unit. So we'll see. So I'm curious if any of you boaters out there or our subs have heard about this stuff. It's been around for years. We used it in the Navy a bunch. Like I said, it's kind of like the last ditch effort to try to fix the unit before you replace it. So yeah, let me know what your comments and thoughts are on this. Why does it seem like it's always the hardest unit to get to? So I either need to get way back there, or I have to see if I can get that cap off that you guys probably can't see. It's in here, it's right there. I don't know, I can't get my hand in there. Let's see if I can get in somewhere else here. I can touch it, but I don't know if I can get in there to turn it. Yeah, all right. I don't think I'm gonna get it in that way. I might have to go back here. I have to get this cap off right here. I have to get that cap off. I have to open that service valve, and then I gotta hook everything up to that. This is gonna be a little bit of a thankless job. Well, I got those caps off, but I can't get there's no clearance to fit the tube of epoxy in there and get the gauges hooked up. So I'm not gonna be able to get in that way. So I'm going to see if I can get this other cap off, and if we can put it in that way. The problem is I'd have to pull this unit right here because there's no clearance. There's just no clearance here. So if I have to pull this unit, which that's a whole, that adds a whole nother day worth of work. I don't want to do that. So let me see if I can get in here and get to this little cap that I need to get off. So we're gonna have to rethink this. I'm gonna try to go in through the high side because I can't get to the low side, and I'm not the only way I can do it is by removing another unit, and I'm not doing that. So I'm going to turn the unit off, check my pressures. If it's low enough, I'll pump it in through the high side and then turn the unit back on. All right, so it looks like I got a workaround. All I should have to do now is open up this high side, because I got 250 psi off the keg and only 100 something on the high side on the unit. So I should be able to pump that epoxy in, close it up, and then go turn it on and get that to circulate through the system. So yeah, we're a little low on refrigerant, so let's get this topped off. Remember, anything that starts with a 4 goes in upside down, and it goes in as a liquid because it's a blend of different refrigerants. And if you try to put it in as a gas, they flash off at different rates, so you never know what you're getting. So we put the epoxy in, we got the gauges hooked up to both sides, and now I'm topping the unit off because it was low on refrigerant. And what'll happen is we'll leave this run, and that epoxy will circulate through the system, and hopefully it'll seal up any leaks. I'm gonna take that epoxy tube off of there, make sure I'm getting a proper reading here. Of course, now I can't get it off. Hands are all sweaty. There we go. All right, got that off. Shift this back up. Yeah, let's see. Maybe one more little bump. Because it's going in a liquid on the low side is not liquid, the low side is a gas. So you can't put in too much liquid on the low side, because otherwise that'll make it back to the compressor, and the compressor cannot compress a liquid. So then it's called slugging the compressor, and it doesn't like that. It's not good for it. Okay, let's get some thermometers and go check the temperature differential. All right, anybody have any questions so far? No? All right, well, let's check this temperature differential. How you do this is you take 2 dial gauges. Don't use those heat guns. They don't give an accurate reading. You want to use a dial like this old school one. Or you could have a digital one, but with a probe. So you put this is your output air here, right? That's where the cold air is coming out. And then we take the other one and put it down here. We tuck it in there. And then we give it like 5 minutes. We should have somewhere between 12 to 15 degrees differential between return air, which again is down there, to the output air, which is up there. So we'll let those acclimate. Yeah, that's pretty good. Whew, yeah. I won't have to climb back there again, but I do. I gotta put the caps back on. All right, let's go see what our differential is on the temperature. So let's see, output air is about 40, 44, 43. Let's go check our return air. And that's at about 54, so we're looking good. That should do it. I can tell you it's nice and cool in here. All right, well, that was it. Hopefully, what do you guys think? Do you think this unit's going to take that epoxy and it'll solve the leak? We'll have to keep an eye on these coils right down here. I don't know if you can see them, but right here, the evaporator coils. If the bottom ones start freezing up and the top ones are warm, that means it's low on refrigerant again. So we'll have to check it and keep an eye on it. We won't let it run while we're not here, because it could, it already froze up and melted and then ruined the overhead down in the estate room, and it cost them $3,000 to get that fixed. So we definitely don't want to leave it run unattended for a while until we make sure if the epoxy took or not. So when we leave today, we'll go ahead and shut that off.